I think what we're inclined to forget is that at first, the Americans in general, especially the military, felt that they were there to do good, and they were doing good, and they wanted the world to see that they were doing good. It was called winning the hearts and minds of the Vietnamese. Personal hygiene was always a matter of great concern to Americans. Every American seemed quite convinced that people were somehow unhygienic. On the other hand, the Vietnamese, who found it necessary to bathe 3 times a day, could never understand why Americans restricted themselves to only 1 daily washing. This Marine was demonstrating to bored mothers how to bathe a child. One mother realized the Marine was using her vegetable dish to stand the boy in, and to the embarrassment of the other Marines, grabbed the dish and strode off, cursing such disregard for the basics of cleanliness.
The U.S. would, in order to try and promote civil development, would get these training programs, and you would sometimes see a big American sergeant coming in, a big beefy guy that weighed 250 pounds, and these 3 Vietnamese guys, each of which who weighed about maybe 105 pounds. And he'd be trying to teach these little tigers just exactly, you know, the right way to do this. We're going to teach them a trade and teach them how to do this and that. And of course, as soon as the press would like turn around and walk away from the event, everybody would go back to kind of doing what they were doing before it had even happened. None of it made sense to me, really. And I must say that when I got there, the very first impressions I had were, I would say, pretty disillusioning.
In the minds of Americans who went over there, they were briefed very thoroughly that they were going over there to save these people from some horrendous enemy, namely the communists, who turned out to be the people themselves. They were totally convinced that their value structure was dominant and the important one and the correct one, and that the rest of the world were savages, dinks and slopes.
By making it easy for you to go to Vietnam and cover the war, I think they were digging their own graves in a way, because they made it so easy for you to go and criticize, and you had total carte blanche to do anything you wanted. They gave you the accredited rank of major in the American Army. They gave you another card which you were supposed to surrender on if you were captured by the North Vietnamese. And you were lodged in the officers' messes wherever you happened to stay, and it was all so easy. You could almost conjure up a helicopter the way I could go out into a London street and get a taxi cab. And in a way, what happened because of that, the American military, I didn't think, ever forgave the press for what they thought was treachery in a way that lost them the war, which was nonsense, really.